Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hey Joshua, see you there on YouTube. And welcome and thank you so much for tuning in today. Welcome back and happy Friday to you. Are you excited about the weekend? Because I'm so excited about the weekend. I don't know, a busy week we had this week, and it's like you just look forward to what are you going to do on Saturday? What are you going to do on Sunday? And if you're joining us on the replay, a quick hello to you as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's wonderful to have you with us. A big welcome to my friends at Modern Mom, because we're streaming to you each and every day now as well. Let's start with the market. Let's how it closed, right? Well, it's sort of like, it's one of those days where it's Friday, and so what are you going to do? Well, the Dow closed down 234 points after reaching quite a nice high this week. NASDAQ closed down 99, NASDAQ closed up, 99 points, and the S&P closed down 2 points as well. A lot of tech sell-off actually across the board today, but more concerns regarding inflation, also increasing rates. We're seeing actually mortgage rates start to creep up a little bit, and a lot of tech being sold off. I think a lot of that has to do with investors just getting a little nervous, looking to do a little bit of profit taking. I think right now we're still not quite there in terms of being completely concerned right now, but certainly this is a time to be really reviewing your portfolio, your money, and making sure that you're in a good situation. I'll just mention that if you haven't done this already, definitely consider doing a financial checkup on your portfolio, right? Reach out to a financial professional, see what you can do to get yourself in a place where you feel more confident. All right. So I want to share with you, my friends, a new course announcement. That's right. So many people are always asking me, Winnie, I wish you would create a course on this. Can you create, recently, I think in the last 6 months, I've heard a lot about, can you just create a course on teaching high school kids about money, or teaching, my spouse, how we can come together and have that money talk and things like that. Well, I've got a new course to share with you. As you know, this is my third course with my friends at LinkedIn Learning. I'm so grateful to see that we've had over 8,000 of you have downloaded and taken my course on how to teach your kids about finances. Well, here's the newest one. Okay, so I'm hoping we can even top this one. I hope this one does just as well. The newest one is managing your finances through a career transition or a layoff. This is a big one because, as you know, a lot of people have gone through the pandemic. A lot of them have been on unemployment, maybe looking for new work, or maybe got laid off, or maybe being put on furlough. There's a lot of things that you want to be prepared for. So we know it's seldom a perfect time to make a career transition, but with some planning and preparation, it actually can lead to a more evolved and smoother change. So as a financial pro, I've consulted with hundreds of people through company layoffs, personal leave, and more. There are so many questions that you'll want answered before and during your leave, and you may not know what those questions are and who to go to get them. So actually I put that on the course. So this course was designed for you. So for everybody, even if you're like, what, Winnie, I'm loving my job, everything's looking good. Let me just tell you, this information is important. Even if you don't go through the course, do you know that that's available for you? It's on LinkedIn, super easy. Probably all of you are on LinkedIn. So this course was designed for you. I've been working on this area for over 2 decades now. It's crazy. I know, it's crazy. And the information is super empowering and relevant right now. So if you know someone who may be going through their own career or job transition, definitely check out the course and let me know what you think. So I'd love to get your thoughts on it. So this is our course. And on other news, let's talk about something fun. It's Friday, and on Fridays I like to share with you not only financial news, but something to like, whoa, wow, I didn't know about that. Well, believe it or not, many of us here on Earth have actually made a big fat mess in space. And so what do you know? It's time to clean up. In fact, this is true. Although you can't see this in the invisibility of the night sky, today's news that I saw shared that there's actually a cloud of 9,000 plus tons of space junk made up of entire defunct satellites, rocket bodies, and more. And why this is important? Well, this mess that we've made can put things that we enjoy and take for granted, like weather forecasting, GPS, right? Like how do we get from one place to the other, and so much more. And there's still more stuff going up in the sky as we speak from companies like Elon Musk's SpaceX. So and so many more. So this is the time. They're saying, okay, it's time to clean up the space. And so I want to share that with you. I see Wendy joining us from YouTube. You've probably never seen a space vacuum cleaner before, right? Well, Astroscale, which is the company that is sharing this video with us here, is a company that's starting to test different tools, such as magnets on aircraft and other things to try to help reduce this mess and future waste. So pretty interesting stuff, right? Imagine if we had that at home and that would just float around our house and vacuum like all the stuff that we leave around the house or the kids drop around. I'm thinking it'd just be so cool if it would just pick up Legos for me around my house. But I don't know. No, curious to see what all of you have thought about this. So thank you so much for joining us. I say Data Lord, thanks so much for joining us too. I know, I actually, this is news to me. It's like I follow financial news. I thought it was really interesting because I wanted to share this with all of you, and maybe it's new. So let's talk about other things, and that's the stimulus check. Now, the stimulus check has arrived for many Americans, and I'm curious if you've actually received your stimulus, if you qualify, right? If you received it, we do know that many Americans have already received it via direct deposit because the IRS might have your information on file already. People are saying like they were pleasantly surprised. In fact, I saw on Facebook, one of my friends who has many children, let's just say, he and his wife said, wow, we didn't expect to get this much from the government. So we know that money is coming. And Forbes recently shared an article about different fun ways to spend your stimulus check, including buying a treadmill or a mattress. But perhaps many Americans actually have different ideas. In fact, I contributed on an article with my friends at CNBC on the last round of stimulus. And one of the reporters said, we're reading that people are going to use the stimulus to buy the next PlayStation 5 and whatnot. And so I thought, especially since I was on news last week as well on Tribune TV, really, what are Americans spending this stimulus check on? What do they plan to do? So I actually conducted a survey. I just shouted out on my trusty Twitter. Almost 2,000 people responded to me telling me where they plan to spend their stimulus check. And I wanted to share this with you because this sort of dictated and translated and showed me that what I thought was right. Most people are using this money the right way, right? They're looking to fund their emergency account, fund their savings, looking to pay down rent or their mortgage, pay for groceries and utilities, like the bare necessities. And only the smallest of percentage are actually going to be using that for splurge dollars. So I thought that was interesting because, the Forbes article made it seem like most people didn't really need that money. And maybe they can buy fun things like treadmills and some fancy mattress. But instead, what my survey definitely showed, almost 2,000 people, by the way, answered the survey, that in fact it's mostly used for those bare necessities, those really important things. So thank you so much for all of you who did contribute to that. If you want to join in and also answer that survey, actually I think it's closed at this point, but I'll continue to do that. I'm actually going to be doing more surveys in the coming weeks. I would love to get your opinion and thoughts on it. In addition to answering the survey, you can always reply to it too, and I can see your comments on that, and I'll try to share them more on the show as well. I do think it's really great. This is that way that we learn from each other. Hey, I want to say hello to Carlos. It's great. So congratulations. Look at Carlos received his stimulus. That's great news. Carlos, actually, on that note, what do you plan to use your stimulus check for? If you don't mind, if you want to share with us, we'd love to hear. On that note, we actually received so many questions this week. A lot of them actually came from one of my speaking events that I did for a company called Hensel Phelps. Wonderful employees, and they submitted so many questions. We also got a lot of questions from the audience as well. But let's go ahead and share some of these with you because I think it'll be interesting for you to see, okay? So here we go. Here's one of the first questions we have, and that is, can you explain the difference between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA? IRA. This is a big one. And for some of you, some of you might be familiar, but I think it's always a good reminder. Let's just say, the Roth IRA and the traditional IRA, for those of you who watch the show or have heard me speak on a forum, you know that the Roth IRA, in my mind, is like the golden egg. It's like one of my most favorite accounts by far, right? And in fact, it's my favorite retirement savings vehicle. The reason that is because a Roth IRA allows you to contribute money that's already been taxed, right? Money that's in your checking account or your savings account. You transfer it to your Roth. And if you keep it invested in your Roth IRA until the age of 59 and a half, so it's rounded up to 60 and beyond, then 100% of those proceeds grow and can be withdrawn later on tax-free. You don't have to worry about state taxes, federal taxes, alternative minimum taxes, all those icky taxes, right? So it's after-tax contributions, and if you keep them in, they grow 100% tax-free. The other reason why I love this account, especially for some of my younger clients that I consult with, is because what you put in, your contribution, you can withdraw at any time for any reason. And you kind of have to hold it in the account for at least a year. Then after a year, at any point, if you need to take out that money because of an emergency or whatnot, there's no penalties or taxes to the contribution that you put in. So hypothetically, if you put in $1,000 and it grows to $1,500, right? You can take out the $1,000 at any time without penalties and taxes. You just can't take the extra $500. The $500, you want to let it continue to grow, compounded, all that beautifulness, and let it continue to rise and grow into the future. So the traditional IRA is basically like the flip side of that. The traditional IRA, for most people, for many people, you get a tax deduction on your contribution up front, and then it grows tax deferred. And then you're going to have to pay taxes on that money when you take it out later on at the back end, right? Now, the other thing I will note is typically to go directly into a Roth IRA, there's certain income limitations. Like you generally have to make less than $124,000 if you're individual, and generally you have to make less than about $196,000 if you're married or you file your taxes jointly. But there are other ways to be able to access that if you actually earn more than those levels. For example, you could do what they call an IRA conversion or a Roth IRA conversion. You can go contribute to a traditional IRA, and then a week later, you could convert it to a Roth IRA as a conversion. If you do that, then you don't have to worry about those income limitations. But there are certain details to that, pros and cons, that you'll want to have a discussion with your financial advisor in your life before you conduct a change or conversion such as that. So just want to make sure that you know that. In addition, in terms of contributions, you can contribute the same amount for each one. You can actually do a combination of the two. Some of you, if you're undecided, should I do the Roth or do the IRA? You could actually contribute to both. And so as a total between the two for each year, as of last year, 2020, because you can still contribute for 2020 until May 17th, which is a tax filing deadline for 2020 taxes this year, you can contribute up to $6,000 in each year. That's your max. And for those of you over the age of 50, you can contribute an extra $1,000, which takes you up to a whopping $7,000. So it's a big deal. So hopefully that's helpful. If you need more information on that, definitely reach out. Be happy to talk to you about it. Or I also wrote an article that will compare and detail that out even more detailed. And you can actually just do a Google search for Winnie Sun Forbes, and the articles will come out. You'll see a whole bunch of articles under my byline there. All right. So great question. Let's see the next one. What do we got? Okay. So second question is Roth. Okay. So, hey, Winnie, my wife is a stay-at-home mom. Can I open a Roth IRA for her? Okay. Great question. I really like that. And yes, absolutely you can. So if you have a spouse who is not working, but you are working, as long as one of the two of you is working in that marriage or partnership, then absolutely you can contribute a spousal IRA in your case, for your wife. Okay, so that means you can contribute and she can contribute, and you absolutely should each and every year. Additionally, this is something that a lot of people don't know. If you have a 401k at work, or 403b at work, and you're contributing to that as well, you can also still contribute to an IRA as well. So, and you should consider doing that as well. You should actually try and do both. It's actually definitely to your benefit. All right, let's see. Next question. What do we have? Thank you. That's a great question, by the way. Winnie, I heard under the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan, homeowners were offered mortgage forbearance up to 18 months due to the pandemic. Do you have thoughts on utilizing this and investing these monies? Okay, great question. Let me answer that. So, when we're talking about, being on forbearance, that means you're not having to make your mortgage payments for 18 months, right? That being said, I actually think you should continue to make those mortgage payments if you can, if you're financially able to. The other thing is, whenever we talk about investing, you have to take a lot of things into consideration, like the current market environment. How much disposable income do you have? What's your risk tolerance? How many years until you're going to need that money? And when you're investing for a shorter amount of time, so in this case, 18 months, right? You just said that's 18 months of forbearance. That's a very short amount of time. We can assume that the market actually has done very well for quite some time now, certainly through the pandemic. And if you remember, 2008, 2009 was really where at a very low point when there was that market correction. And since that point, since 2008, 2009, the market's been relatively in this direction. It's been relatively positive. And because of that, if you look at what happened with the financial markets this week, right, you're seeing that investors are getting a little nervous. They're concerned about inflation. They're concerned about valuations. Are companies now trading at multiples that are too high, that can't be justified by earnings and data coming out of those companies? Well, so let me ask you this. Why would you risk money that should be going towards paying down your mortgage, right, which is your shelter, and investing it for a short amount of time and taking that risk? So my suggestion would be, especially given how volatile the stock market is currently and how many industries and areas of the market are considered pretty highly valued, right? Pricing is not cheap. I would say I would probably sway you to reconsider that. But before you do that, I would certainly recommend that you seek out a financial advisor, put together, make sure you get that financial checkup. It's a good idea that you do that, because I think you're in a situation where it does make sense. You're talking about mortgage, right? You're thinking about investing. So you're lining yourself up wanting to do that next step. And so this is a good time to find a coach, find a partner to think and consider doing that. All right. So great question. And thank you so much for asking that question. It's great to see all of you, by the way. I see so many of you joining us on this beautiful Friday. All right. Next question. Actually, this is our last question too. And that is, what factors should we consider when choosing a financial advisor, or should we risk investing on our own? Okay, great question. Well, you know what? I think this is a really good personal question. I know when I first started investing, I did start investing by myself. Eventually, as I started earning more money, I became a financial advisor, of course, and therefore, I think you're going to know when it's time to find an advisor and when the time is right for you. And some of the factors I would recommend when looking for a financial advisor, probably the biggest one that we've learned through this pandemic and even before this, is that geography doesn't matter. Okay, so finding the best advisor to match up to you matters more, because nowadays, like, I have clients all across the globe. I have clients I've never even met in person. And it doesn't matter, because they're looking for the best advice that they can get. And we can set up Zoom calls, we can do conference calls, all that. So that's not an issue. The other thing I would recommend is looking for someone who's been in business a minimum of 10 years, minimum. And the reason that's important is because you want to have someone who's helping you, giving you advice about investing, about how to do financial planning, who's actually invested money during a very difficult market. In the last 10 years, as we discussed, the market's been relatively positive, right? And it hasn't been as difficult to manage money. So you want someone who knows how to invest money in a good market and a very bad market and everything in between. And so that comes with experience. Doesn't mean you need to find someone that you totally don't connect with, who totally doesn't understand you and doesn't understand your lingo. You can find someone. Trust me, you can find someone. my clients couldn't be more diverse. And we all have something in common in that we connect well together. So that's what I would say. The other thing you can do is there's a lot of resources online where you can check background, you can check how they charge, how they work with you, what services they offer, check out their websites, check out social media, because you want to see what it is that they're saying. Make sure the personality matches. In fact, I recently was introduced to a client, brand new client of ours that signed up, and she said, I did research on my advisor, and I realized that he was sharing content information that totally did not align with my value system. We were not on the same page. I felt like this and this, and he felt this and this, and we are completely. And I don't want to support that type of activity. And so she said, I wanted to make sure that my purse spoke, meaning that whoever I did business with was aligned with my type of thinking. And so I would say that that's really important, because unlike some relationships, like maybe the person that you buy car insurance with or whatever, in most cases, your financial advisor becomes your friend, right? My clients are my buddies, and you're so close. Like you feel you can talk about everything with them. There's that level of trust, and it's a relationship that you retain not only for just a few months, but in generally, like we have clients that have been with us, some with 3 generations. So you're looking for that longevity, someone that you can grow old with, that can sustain time. So actually, a lot of our clients come to us because my team and I are much younger than they are, right? And they'll say, I chose you because, well, first of your experience, but also because, you're about the age of my kids. And so I want to make sure that when I start to gift and transfer wealth from myself to my kids, that you're going to be there to guide them, right? And you'll be there for my grandkids. And I love that. And I think that's powerful. So think about those things. So sometimes you don't think about those things. So thank you so much for asking all these questions. I'm loving this. I want to say thank you so much, Wendy, for hanging with us. I see Carlos as well. Oh, and Carlos got vaccinated with Moderna. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you, buddy. Yeah. You know what? That just that inspires us, right? We're getting closer. Better days ahead, my friends. Okay, so let's talk about something before we go here. As you know, my friends at Intua are amazing, of course, and they're sharing the love. They're actually providing us with free TurboTax codes to give out once a week. So if you need TurboTax in the middle of tax season right now, Intuit, as you know, the global technology platform, they serve millions of customers worldwide with TurboTax, with QuickBooks, Credit Karma, and Mint. They believe that everybody should have the opportunity to prosper, as I do. So please visit Intuit.com for the latest information on them and their brands. But if you would love to have a free TurboTax filing for your 2020 taxes, reach out to me, tag Intuit, tag TurboTax. Let me know. We're selecting someone every single week until tax season. So thank you so much, my friends, for watching and supporting our program. Take a moment, if you can, to share this show. Share it on social media. And if those of you want to join me, I'm actually going to be having some fun on Twitter very, very soon, on Twitter Spaces. In fact, you can join, you can come in, and can come talk to me on Twitter Spaces. I would love to see you. And as a reminder, you can find full episodes of Level Up with Winnie Sun on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Be well. Can't wait to see you again next week. Let me know how your weekend is. Take care. See you Monday. Bye-bye now.